Where is Clary when we first find her in the TV series?
When we first find Clary in the TV series, she is walking into her final interview for the Brooklyn Academy of Art. She is a headstrong, independent art student living in Brooklyn with her mother, and she has her best friend Simon, who's an accounting student at NYU, and she's living her life as normal. And that's kind of the charm of Clary. You know, she would be a perfectly fine individual if she were just left to her mundane life. But there are greater things in store for her.
Well, what is it like for Clary to be able to see the shadow world?
It's very confusing at first. She literally thinks she's losing her mind for a while. You know, she's living her life as normal, and then suddenly, as her 18th birthday nears, she starts to get these memories and these flashes, and she starts seeing things that are very unsettling and very confusing to her, and eventually she discovers that it's her memories that have been suppressed for years by certain other individuals in the shadow world that we'll find out as episodes go on. But she, is thrust into this world and has to learn to fight back and rise from the ashes and deal with her new life.
Will we get to see flashbacks to Clary as a child, maybe interacting with Magnus Bane?
There are a few. There are a few flashbacks in the first episode. We definitely utilize that relationship, and there's a wonderful actress that plays young Clary, and we see some flashbacks to little Clary, and as the season goes on, you see a few flashbacks to Clary and Simon in their teenage years, which Alberto and I had a lot of fun with, just playing, mundane Clary and Simon. We always look forward to those scenes because it's different. We're not, it's before dealing with demons and vampires and werewolves. We just get to have fun.
Well, can you talk about that friendship between Clary and Simon and if it could possibly lead to a relationship on the show?
In the show, the Clary-Simon-Jace relationship is definitely a love triangle. Clary and Simon have been friends forever. They're the closest that two people could possibly be, and there's something wonderful about that. And there's something that Clary really relies on. Simon knows Clary more than anyone else, and he understands her more than anyone ever could. And it's hard for Clary to let go of, and that's why she drags him along with her into the shadow world and into all of these situations that could have deadly consequences for our friend Simon.
And if Clary were to think that she were related to Jace, do you think that would bring her and Simon closer?
Time will tell. Time will tell. You never know what's going to happen. If we do follow the story of the books, and if Clary and Jace's relationship were to change, maybe she would go back to Simon. Maybe she would see their relationship as something different and maybe not be so afraid to let their friendship turn into something else. I don't know. You'll have to watch the show.
Now, there's a huge fan base for the Mortal Instruments and for the TV show already. Was that intimidating at all for you?
Definitely. The entirety of the fandom is so fierce, and these books are so beloved to them, and I'm a huge fan of the books too, so I get it. I care about them as much as the fans do, and it definitely was intimidating. I remember before they announced on Twitter, I found out that I was cast 10 minutes before they announced it on Twitter, and in that 10 minutes, I was reeling a little bit because I was reeling with the fact, oh my goodness, I have this amazing opportunity to play this role, but oh my goodness, what is the fandom going to think? What are they going to say? What's going to be their opinion of me playing this character that they really relate to and they really love and they really care about? And but thankfully, they welcome me with open arms, and most of the response has been, the vast majority has been positive, and everybody's really excited for the show, and I'm so thankful to have that support because it motivates us and it keeps us going when we're here shooting all of the show. It's nice to have a little bit of excitement, a little bit of buzz.
Are there characters or concepts from the books that you would really like to see in the show?
I think the way that the show is progressing, the writers really are bringing in a lot of the beloved characters and a lot of the things that people find really interesting and people will love from the books and that they're hoping are going to be there. But they're doing so in a way that's never been done before. And we're definitely taking our own perspective on the show and our own interpretation of this world. We're keeping the same beloved characters, we're doing the same story, we still get from point A to point B, but we do it in a way that suits television and in a way that brings all of the best elements of the books into this giant shadow world that we're creating.
Well, can you talk about Clary's relationship with her mother?
Yeah. Clary and her mother are two peas in a pod. They're almost more like sisters or roommates than a mother-daughter pair. And that for that reason, when Clary finds out that basically her whole world has been a lie and that her whole life has been something that is not what it seems, she's very thrown by that. Because she and her mother had this implicit trust, and her mother's gone all of a sudden. She doesn't have her mother to turn to. She doesn't know who she can trust. And the one person she can turn to is a mysterious stranger, of Jace, who knows about this world and who keeps saving her life and seems like the one thing who's not trying to kill her. But it's really hard for her for a long time. And she has this intense focus to find her mother and save her mother and get her mother back, and it's because of their strong bond.
Is the journey to get her mother back a multi-episode story?
Without a doubt. We spend the majority of the season on the quest to find Jocelyn and to get her back and to save her from whence she has been kidnapped.
And how is Luke involved in that?
Luke is definitely involved. For a while, Clary doesn't know who she can trust, and so that plays out with her relationship with Luke as well. And eventually, things come around where Luke does become a part of the team and helps out, and we move on to finding Jocelyn.
Would you yourself prefer to be a mundane, a Shadowhunter, or something else?
If I had to choose to be a part of the Shadow world, I think I'd want to be a warlock. I mean, I think being a Shadowhunter is amazing, and I think if I were thrust into that situation, I could rise to the challenge. But I think there's a certain level of bravery that's necessary and a certain recklessness that I may not possess. I'm sure I could figure it out with training, but there's something about being a warlock and being able to live in so many different centuries and in so many different times and being able to help people and have these strange powers. It's kind of beautiful. Maybe it's because Harry Shum plays the character of Magnus Bane so well that I just I'm fascinated by it.
Is Shadowhunters a concept that you think might work better for TV than as movies?
Cassie Clare has created this world that's so rich, and there's so much going on. I mean, the books are ginormous, and there's such a rich story and a rich life to each of the characters, and there's a backstory and, potential to move forward after the books end, and there's so many things going on that I do think it's very well suited to television, and I think it's, as far as format goes, a very good medium to really serve the story well.
And what excites you the most about fans being able to finally see the show?
I cannot wait for fans to see the show. I really am excited to see people who love the books, to hear what they think about the show, but also people who've never been aware of this Shadow world and who know nothing about the books and are newcomers to this fandom. I'm really curious to see what the take is on the show and the world and what people think of these characters.
Can you talk about some of the directors that you've gotten to work with on the show?
We've had some pretty amazing directors this season. We've been able to work with some wonderful people. One of our executive producers is McGee, who directed the pilot episode and kind of set us off on our way to creating this world. And I've been wanting to work with him for a long time. I've been a huge fan of his. I love his work, and he has this amazing energy that he brings to set that really inspires all of us and impassions all of us, and whenever he comes to visit, we all get re-inspired and reinvigorated to be a part of this world.